So welcome everyone to today's interesting section. So guys, let's start joining as we go live in today's interesting and wonderful section. Please along today's section, if you have any question whatsoever, if you need any clarification, you can kindly just drop it on the chat box, in which justice is going to be done as we move ahead in the course of today's section. So we'll be analyzing the market today. Today we'll be looking at the Fungi. One project we want to be looking at in today's topic is the Fungi Finance. Now, Fungi Finance is currently on Gate.io, in which you can actually trade on it. If you are looking for a way to actually get airdrops, this is a perfect airdrop in which you can actually key into currently. And I'm actually going to be taking you, is actually a startup project coming on board, and I would like to take you guys on a step by step on how to actually be part of this project when looking at. So all these points actually what we'll be looking at in the course of today's section. So welcome everyone, welcome everyone to today's interesting section. Please let's comment on the chat box. I'm waiting for your comment on the chat box to show that you are online with us as we go live in the course of today's section. Is very important that you follow my profile, and also this project I'm actually going to be analyzing today is actually a very good project that you can actually analyze, that you can actually look into in investing. Now, in getting as this the part of this airdrop that we actually have, there's some basic steps that you have to actually look into before you can actually be the part of this project. And the first step in which you have to look at is that the first step is in which you have to complete your verification. So if you're actually connected to me, because I know some people are currently joining me for the first time. So if you're currently joining me for the first time, if this is your first time of you joining me live, the first thing you actually need to do is to do your verification, your KYC verification. Now immediately you're done with your KYC verification, then you actually have to just hold up to $10 or to be a kind of to be a VIP1, to actually any kind of a high-tide deposit, or can have a kind of a high-tide deposit to be part of this project, that we just start up participation tips that we're actually talking about. So now one step that is actually very important is that now the balance required now, keep enough spot asset like 20 USDT per share. Now for airdrop projects, for the airdrop project and order, the assets will be deducted from your will never be deducted. Now, even though you have, okay, so people are actually asking me, I believe one previous sections we have someone actually asked me the question that, okay, if it deposits $10, is that the $10 is actually going to be removed from the account? No, the money that you're actually depositing is not going to be removed from your account. It's actually your money, so it's actually not going to be removed from your account. So that is one point we need to take note of when looking at what we're actually talking about. So one point is actually very important for us to actually take note is that one point that's actually very important for us to take note is one point that's actually very important, that even though you deposit, whether it's 20 USD or kind of a $10 that you actually have in your asset, it's actually not going to be it's not going to be actually be removed, but it's just actually going to validate your being part of this project that we're actually talking about. And also for discount project, USDT will be used to finalize allocation. So the amount of this that you actually use, that is what is actually going to be used to finalize your allocation on the project. Now the easy step to actually partake in this now is just to click on in process projects. Now I'll actually show you how to click on it. The first step is just to click on in process. Now immediately you click on in process, click on place order or spin wing, or and then place order if you want to bet on more shares, or click on spring win if you want to bet, just click on place order. Then all you need to do also is to sign the agreement. Now immediately you sign the agreement, input the purchase share and also submit. So that is all what you need to do to be part of this project that we're actually talking about in today's section. So today we're actually going to be looking at the Kunji Finance. What is this Kunji? What is this finance really all about? Now remember, I told you guys that it is very, very important for you to understand what the project is actually really all about, how to actually go about the project before you actually decide to actually about what are they, which understand what the project are we, what the project are we actually talking about, what are they really all about, how can you actually key into, what are the basic information that you need to know, that you need to take note of when talking about this project before you actually invest into it. Who are the owner of the project, how can you actually go about it, and other. Now looking at this area here, you can see this point here, the support area. Let me bring it close so that we can see it clearly. Now looking at the support area there, 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 looking at the Kunji Finance, you can see this area here, you can see the market area here, you can see what we actually have here. Now you can see it, you can see the support, you can see the USDT, you can see the reason the raise that are going to be ending on the 25th, and you can see it here. How many hours left? You can see it's 0 day. We have 13 seconds, 13 hours left, 13 hours. We have 47 minutes thereabouts to partake in this project. You can see, so you can actually click on notify me to actually partake in it. So now all you just need to do to be part of this project is just a very simple step that you can actually take to be part of this project. And the first step that you need to actually take to be part of this project is just to sign into your account, log in into your, if you're listening to me and you're yet to log into your account, please as you're listening to me, I want you guys to be part of this project. So the first thing you actually need to do currently, the first step that you actually need to do currently is just to, so it's the first step you need to actually do to be part of is just to log into your account. Immediately you have logged into your account, just hold more than 10 USD spot assets, and also click on just log into your account, click on 0 free to claim, and also confirm the available share and click claim now and actually claim your own share. So what is this Kunji Finance? Now before you actually go into a project, you need to know what the project is actually really about, what are they building, how can you actually go about it, and all that. So the Kunji Finance is actually a decentralized platform built on the Arbitrum that connect asset managers with liquidity providers, allowing those asset managers to leverage their skill with access to future capital while generating trading-based profit opportunity for capital providers. That is just a simple explanation about what this Kunji Finance is actually real about. And I'll actually repeat this explanation again. Now the Kunji Finance is actually a decentralized platform built on Arbitrum that connect asset manager. Now, anything that is actually built. Now, one point you need to take note of this. The first point that we need to actually take note of when looking at this project is that the first point is that it's actually a decentralized platform, and you know the effect of. And you all know the kind of effect of decentralization. So this platform we're actually talking about is actually a decentralized platform, and the fact that it's actually a decentralized platform that we're actually looking at. What are the other points that we need to actually take note of when looking at that? It's actually a decentralized platform built on the Arbitrum that connect asset managers with liquidity provider. So they connect asset managers with liquidity provider, allowing these assets to leverage their skill with access to further capital while gaining trading-based profits opportunity for capital providers. So that is actually one factor that we need to consider when looking at this project. What are they really all about and all that? So that is one point that's actually very, very important. Now the asset manager service can asset manager on the platform, enabling the creation of hedge funds, and also for retailer investors without any regulatory framework that is actually put on. Uber is kind of lemon service when looking at it, and also we can say that we know who the founder founder is, and we will actually come to who the founder of this project is actually really all about. So this project, you can see it here, you can see it on get.io, Fuji startup initial coin of initial free offering, in which you can actually get an airdrop of this project currently. So all you just need to do to participate, to be a participant of this startup project, you just need to acquire, you just need to require you just need to participate by registering on get.io and logging into your account. So if you're listening to me and you've not done your KYC and you've not logged into your account, you're just listening to me based on sharing the link all about my profile and other. So you can actually click on right now and actually sign up on get.io. And if you are done signing up with on get.io login, just deposit like $10 into your account, and also you'll be qualified to actually be part of this project immediately is being distributed. So all these points are actually very important that we need to actually take note of when looking at this project and all that. Now, looking at one of the key information that's actually very important that we need to take note of when looking at this project is the first one here. You can see the key information for startup. Now you can see the startup purchase price, because it's yet to be launched, is just 0 USDT. You can see startup supply, you can see 160,000 KNG. Now this KNG is actually the token name that we actually have on get.io. Now looking at the unlock row, that is 100% is yet to be unlocked when looking at it on the real sense. Another. So all this actually very important. It's very important that we take note of all those factors when looking at what the project is actually really all about. What are they building? How can we actually go about it? Another. All these factors are actually very important that we need to take note of when looking at all those projects whatsoever and all that. Now, one point that's actually very important that we need to actually look at when looking at this project, one point that's actually very important that we need to take note of when looking at this project is that now, looking at this area here, looking at what the market is currently seeing here, you can see this area of the market, you can see what we actually have here. Looking at this market, looking at the introduction, we've actually talked about the introduction platform built on the Arbitrum that connect asset managers with liquidity providers. So now one factor in which we need to take note that this project does is that it connects. One of the things that it does is that it's actually a decentralized, and we all know what decentralization is actually real about. It's actually a decentralized platform that connects asset manager. So asset manager, they actually connect asset manager with liquidity providers. That is one point in which we need to know. They connect asset provider with liquidity providers, allowing these asset managers to leverage their skill with access to further capital and also generate trading and based profit opportunity for capital providers. That is the introduction. That is what Kunji Finance is actually really. And what is their vision? Now we all know, okay, this is what Kunji Finance is actually really all about. This is what they want to do. This is where they are actually going into. And so what is their vision of this? What is the vision of this project that we are actually talking about when looking at? Now, one of the vision of this project is not only is the only asset management project that enable asset manager to run both long and short strategy that can deliver return in any market condition. So now it's actually a kind of they actually build in a kind of a way that enable asset manager to run both long and short strategy that deliver return on any market condition when looking at it. So all this actually it is very important that we understand all those points are actually very important that we need to understand, that we need to take note of when talking about what are they really all about, how can we actually go about it and all that. So now I'll repeat that explanation. Now the Kunji Finance is on the only asset management project that enable assets provider or that enable asset managers to run both long and short strategy that actually delivers return on any market condition and all that. With the way the market actually goes on, with the way they are actually really about, it allows investors to invest any amount with that exists at the time, and also ensure there is no socialization of return when looking at it on the real sense and other. So all these points are actually very, very important that we need to actually take note of when looking at what they're actually really all about. How can we actually go about it? What are the different factors that we need to consider when looking at this project, what they are building? How can we actually go about it? Another is very, very important that we understand all these points in which we're talking about. We're talking about the ecosystem, and so these are their vision. This is actually their vision. So it is very, very important that we understand all these points when looking at the market, when looking at what they're actually really all about, how we can actually go about it, and other. All these points are actually very, very important that we need to actually take note of. Now, looking at the founder, now you can see the founder here. You can see it's a you can see it's a CEO and founder. You can see it here. What is actually a an IIT Bombay alumnus with 14 years experience as CXO executive in product and marketing strategy and all that. You can see it. And also, it's actually the founder, is actually the CEO and founder of Kunji Finance with leadership experience in marketing product and also general management for startup projects and other for startup across a form of multiple sector or geography and all that. Now it actually has a landscape and intersection of actually 25%, and also in a global fortune of 500 market shares. He also contributes to building um Tino and also EduTech multi-site platform and other multi-site platform through grassroots effort and successful brought in 2 million students and also 18,000 school in 2 years. That is a very good achievement of what they've actually done. You can see the token allocation. You can see the token allocation here. We have 20%. We have community here. The community here is 40%. We have the ecosystem development 10%. We have the strategy reserve 5%. We have the marketing 5%. We have 1.5%. We have the boards. We have 30%. We have the operational reserve 7%. We have the late strategy investor, that is 4.5%. And also all these are actually very, very important that we need to actually take note. You can see it here. You can see 20% here. You can see 104 weeks cliff, even vested in 260 days, 60 weeks, and other. So now looking at the rate, a positive feedback loops through the provision of kind of principal cover for liquidity provider to reduce the investment risks by distributing risk reward and up with the token holders. Moreover, the KNJ holders can participate in governance function and part or stake the token to receive the ST and also the technical overview about what Arbitrum, which assets management is actually being built, or the way the platform is actually being controlled and other. So they can actually go into the platform and build whatever they want to build and actually working under the wood and all that. This with a kind of with other managing contract evaluation and security. When looking at really all about what are they building, how can we actually go about it, what are the different factors we need to consider when looking at the ecosystem and all that. I believe you guys actually getting what I'm actually. Please, I want to see your comment. Let me see one or two comments on the chat box so that I will know you guys are actually following me and getting what I'm actually dishing out to you guys in the course of today's session. So please, I'm waiting for your comments on the chat box. I believe you guys are following me. I believe we are following. I believe you guys are following me in the course of today's section. I believe we are following. Please let's comment on the chat box so that to show that you guys are actually following me in the course of today's session. Let's comment on the chat box to show that you guys are actually following me in the course of today's section. I'm waiting for your comments on the chat box so that which to show that you guys are actually following me in the course of today's section. So what other point that is actually very, very important when looking at this? So let's look at the white paper of this project. Let's look at the white paper. You can see this is actually their website. This is actually the website, the Kunji finance website. Now let's get it. Let's adjust it. Let's get what they are actually working on. What are they really all about before we go ahead to look at the white paper of the project. And so all these points in which we have here are actually basic information that we need to understand, that we need to take note of when looking at the project, when looking at what they're actually really all about. How can we actually go about it? What are the basic information that we need to take note of when looking at them? And all those points here are actually very important that we need to take note of. Now you can see it's actually a decentralizing the power of active portfolio management. This is just a simple definition or explanation about what they're actually really all about, what they are trying to do, and all that. You can see it here. It's actually, now looking at it here, looking at what you actually have here, you can see it's actually decentralizing the power of portfolio. Their mission is actually decentralizing the power of active portfolio management. When looking at that, is one point that we need to actually, that is, this point is actually very important that we need to take note of when looking at it on the real sense. And so it is all those points here that we're actually talking about are actually very important that we need to take note of when looking at what they are actually really all about. What are they doing? What are the different points we need to take note of when looking at them and other. Now one other point that is actually very important now is that what is their aim? Now we aim to empower individual investors with access to active portfolio management backed by transparency, security, and community-led governance. That is what they're actually building. Now I'll repeat that explanation again. Now we are empowered. We aim to empower individual investors with access to active portfolio management backed by transparency, security, and also community-led governance when looking at it. So all these are actually very important that we need to actually take note of when looking at the ecosystem, what they're actually really all about, what are we talking about, and other. So it is very important that we understand. It is very important that we understand all those points when looking at the ecosystem, what looking at what. So it's we actually now they actually aim to empower individuals. Now this is actually a good project to actually look out for if you like looking at projects to actually invest in another. So they actually aim to empower investors with access to kind of to access to active portfolio management backed by transparency, security, community-led governance when looking at it. So we are dedicated to creating a decentralized platform where every investors has control over their finance. So now creating a kind of an ecosystem where every investors actually has their own way of actually has their own finance, how the way they actually go about it, another, which is actually very important when looking at the ecosystem, another. So all these points, all these are actually all these are actually very important. That is very important when looking at the ecosystem. What are they really all about? How can we actually go about it, another? All these points are actually very important that we need to take note of when looking at the ecosystem, when looking at what we are actually building, what are they really about. So we aim to empower individuals or investors with access to active portfolio management backed by transparency, security, community-led development, or kind of community-led governance when looking at it, which is one important point that we also need to take note of when looking at what they actually really all about. What are we building? What are we talking about when looking at? So all these points here are actually very important that we need to actually focus on, that we need to take note of when talking about what they're actually really all about. What are we building, another? So we are dedicated to creating a decentralized platform where every investors has control over their investment, and also access to expert experience, manage investment strategy, and apart from managing investment strategy and others. So you actually join us in the quest of creating accessible profitable investment experience when looking at it. So all these actually important point of discussion when looking at it, when looking at what they're actually really all about. And other. Okay, right now we have Joseph on the call. Joseph, welcome for joining us on today's in-person section. And also all this actually very important. This is actually their website. This is actually how they work. The Kunji Finance. You can see it here. You can actually go there and actually see their website to actually look at what they actually will about, in which is currently traded on Gate.io, which are looking at getting an airdrop or startup, looking at getting a startup airdrop. You can actually go and get it right now. All you just need to do is to sign up on Gate.io. Make sure you do your verification and just deposit at least 10 USDT in your account for to have access to this airdrops that we have. Now all you just need to do is to connect your wallet, select your strategy plan that you want to use, and also stake your token order. So looking at this is all about, you can see it, you can see there, you can see how it's being built and all that and all that. So all this actually very important. These are different ways of investment in which you can actually go in. So this is actually an exploit of Arbitrum and all that. So all this actually, now you can see the management processing. We have deploy of kind of a strategy to trader vaults and all that. We also have access manager can stake token from the principal coverage and other. We have end the management fee, and that is actually built on the Arbitrum. You can see it here. So all the so all this actually very important that we need to take note of. You can see it integrated with Uniswap and thereabout. You can see why, and also so looking at it now, why should you invest in this project? Why are we looking at investing in this project? You can see you have full custodian control. The way it's actually being worked, it's actually you actually have a form of a new. I believe you all know what non-custodian is actually really about. What this time around, you actually have a full custodian and control, and also you have the principal covering of actually what they actually real about, and also you have the stake and reward. You actually have to you just need to stake, and also they have community. They have a form of security. Security is power. Now you can't go into a project or invest into a project when there is not enough security, when you don't trust what the project is actually really all about. Now the first goal is security. Now they have a form of security and other. So now in looking at security, in looking at what the effect of security, now you can see it's actually built on the foundation of security. Now, because it is decentralized, security is actually one of their primary goal. You actually able to keep your phone, and your phone is actually being secured wherever you are keeping it, which is one point that we need to actually take note of when talking about the ecosystem, when talking about the market space, what they are actually really all about. And so we have designed a system that is such as it is safe, secure, and reliable. Now we have made sure that we match the highest security standard and nothing less to that when looking at. Also we have what we call community building. Now we also have we are a completely decentralized service, and also this project is run by community members. When looking at it, we are also invited to join the community to actually contribute and also build this ecosystem that we're actually talking about. So this is actually their website. This is actually what they are actually really all about. And so let's look at the coin market cap. Let's look at coin market cap to get more. Let's look at where we can see it is yet to. That's why we don't have this thing here. You can see it here. You can see what we currently have here in the market space, and all that. You can see it is yet to be listed. That is why we don't have it is yet to be listed. That is why. So it's actually going to be listed. It's actually going to be listed firstly on Gate.io. It's actually going to be listed on Gate.io, which is actually a good project for you. This is actually an early project for you to actually invest in. Now, investing in this project early, you actually gain a lot when looking at this project, when looking at investing in it early, because you know that okay, it is yet to be listed, and it's actually subsequently it's actually going to be listed in other projects. You see some kind of partnership coming on board, a kind of it's listed on different platforms and all that. But it's actually going to be listed on Gate.io, which is actually in I think 13 seconds from now, it's actually going to be listed on Gate.io, which if you're looking at investing in it now, it's actually a perfect time for you to actually look into investing in it and all that. So all this actually very important that we need to actually take note of all those points when looking at the ecosystem, when looking at what are we building, what are they really all about, and all those points here are actually very important that we need to take note of. I believe you guys actually getting a lot for what I'm actually sharing with you guys in the course of today's session. Please and please, if you have any question whatsoever, you are free to ask on the chat box, in which justice is going to be done as we keep moving ahead. So looking at the content in which we have here, you can see introduction. This is actually on this content we have here is actually on coin market cap. So if you need more of this, you can actually go to coin market cap and search for it, and you will get it here. So you can see the content. You can see it's a decentralized active portfolio management. You can see it in, you can see, let me just read what we have here. You can see the Kunji Finance is actually a non-custodian and multiple strategy and digital assets and management platform that connect assets management with liquidity provider, allowing these assets managers to leverage their skill with access to future capital while generating trade-based profits opportunity for capital provider. And apart from all this, users can invest cryptocurrency and token with maximum yield and integrated mitigated risks when looking at it. It is an easy to use platform that enable users to invest their yield funds like strategy without any kind of entry barrier with limited with kind of maximum investment when looking at it. Now the users will have a kind of a full custodian of their funds and can withdraw at any time. So the user can actually have full custodian of their funds, and you can actually withdraw at any time when looking at the ecosystem, when looking at what they're actually really all about and other. So now apart from all that, all the assets management solution are available in DeFi currently, running either systematic or long-term this strategy. Now also this systematic strategy come along with lower risks, while the return is significantly lower compared to the crypto hedge funds. Now hedge funds are actively managed and generated greater return or higher return, and also have a kind of entry barrier, no transparency or maximum initial investment, and no custodian of funds when looking at it. In this scenario, there's a need for an asset management service that can be based on discretion investment, and this one in a long term and also a short term strategy. Now the Kunji offer a platform that allow both asset manager to take both long and short profits position with exposure to both spot and also derivative markets when looking at it. So all these are actually very important, which is actually advisable for everyone listening to me. You can actually take advantage of this when looking at ecosystem, when looking at what they're actually doing, what they're actually building, and other. All these points are actually very important that we need to take note of when looking at the ecosystem, and that is very important. Now looking at the investment strategy that we have here, you can see it here. One of the investment strategy that you have is that one of this is that you can become a good assets. One of the investment strategy that we have here, anyone with good assets management skill can create strategy on Kunji Finance. This strategy will contain only liquid token whitelisted through the governance process. Now to solve the code stats, the Kunji Finance has a team of assets managers who will trade the user funds with a kind of a given 3 years investment strategy. Now the first strategy that you have is the alpha blue chips focus. We have the top capital digital assets. I have the arbitrate opportunity and balance strategy and other. So all these actually different form of strategy that you can actually look into in actually investing and other. Now look, apart from that, now looking at decentralized active portfolio management. Now when talking about decentralized active portfolio management, what are we really talking about? What are all this really all about when talking about it and other? So one point that's actually very important that we need to take note is that the cryptocurrency is actually an extreme volatility asset class. Now we all know that cryptocurrency is actually It's actually volatile. When looking at the ecosystem, when talking about cryptocurrency, you'll hear that, okay, cryptocurrency, this is actually volatile. You can't do this, you can't do that. When talking about cryptocurrency, there's a limit to what you can do when talking about cryptocurrency. And no, yes, that is the truth. The market is actually very volatile when looking at cryptocurrency ecosystem. But as at that, there's some basic information that we need to there's some basic information that we need to take note of when talking about cryptocurrency, when talking about how cryptocurrency works. What are the features of this cryptocurrency that we're actually talking about? That basic information that we need to actually take note of when talking about how they operate, what they actually that we need to actually take note of. Now, cryptocurrency is actually an extreme volatile asset. As per the recent BIS study, 81% of folks who traded on their own end up losing their using their million percent of their deployed capital. In this scenario, crypto native hedge funds are seeking new industry dynamic to rebuild confidence and address the users' need, investors. Now, on the other hand, not have a kind of automated assets management strategy that provide low yield and platform well specific market condition cycle when looking at it. Now, the Kunji Finance is solving all this issue by offering a decentralized platform that connect assets management managers to liquidity provider. Now, this assets management service by assets management can be based on discretion, destination, investments. These are run a kind of a long run or short strategy created by the kind of assets manager on the platform, enabling the creation of huge funds for both retailer and institutional investors when looking at. So all these points are very very important and key that we need to take note of when looking at the ecosystem, when looking at what they're actually building, what they're actually really all about. How can we actually go about it, and all these points here are actually very very important and key that we need to take note of when looking at the ecosystem. And now, unlike automated assets management protocol used for yield based farming, this platform provide high return for with strategy frame based on the regulatory for factors like market segment and other and technical and fundamental analysis. Trust rate cannot be automated. Now, some of the team found a way to build a non-custodial platform with verified and distinguished assets managers with limited permission to trade their assets when looking at it on the real sense and other. So all these are key and very very important that we need to take note of when looking at the market space and when looking at what they actually really all about. What are we building? How can we actually take control of it? What are the different factors that we need to actually consider when looking at the ecosystem and other? All this actually very very important that we need to actually take note of. Now, the key features of this platform. Now, what are the key features of this platform that we're actually talking about? Let me just summarize it in some terms. Now, the first one, it is actually a non-considered platform with no entry barrier and also maximum initial investment. That is one point that we need to actually take note of. Now, it is actually a non-custodian platform with no entry barrier, in which there is no any form of barrier when entering into the ecosystem. And that is one point that is actually very very important that we need to actually take note of when. So you can actually start with get.io, which is actually going to be launched on in a few hours from now, maybe 13 hours about from now. It's actually going to be launched, in which you can actually start with it to actually get started with the protocol and to buy the token and other start staking with it. And also you can actually have actually another other DeFi wallet for connection purpose and other. Now, also another impact of it, or another features of it, is that the protocol is built on the actually built on the Arbitrum. Now, we have some other platform that's actually built on the Ethereum blockchain, and but this is actually built on Arbitrum chain, allowing users with 100% security when looking at. So it's actually giving users a form of 100% security when looking at what they're actually building, and also apart from 100% security, it gives them fast transaction, in which your transaction is actually going to be fast when looking at in seconds, and also the gas fee is really very very low compared to other chain that we actually have in the ecosystem that we have. Also takes 25% profit from 25% profit share at the time of withdrawal, and also of which 20% is allocated to the access manager, while 5% goes to the protocol and lab company. It means that there is no charges for management if there is no profit and all that. So it's only when there is actually profit in the eco, there is no money, if there is no gain in the ecosystem, there is no money to be shared and all that. That is why it's actually advisable for us to actually key into the ecosystem. It's actually a good platform for us to actually. This is actually a very good investment if looking at it, if looking at different form of investment, how we can go about it. This is actually a very good investment that we can actually key into investing. And also another point that's actually here again is that it's only selected access manager can trade on the platform after voting process on the or after the voting process by the KNJ token holders. Now, the access manager only process trading right and cannot withdraw the funds at any point. And also, we also have the strategy are well defined with the highest liquidity asset class and limitation of on the kind of percentage share of in the allocation of the fund. This can be charged as per the guidance of governance. We're looking at it. No new token can be whitelisted without the voting procedure and by governance protocol token holders when looking at it. And also we have governance. Governance will play a role by protocol involvement strategy when looking at it. And also it enables users to track real-time portfolio, and apart from tracking real-time portfolio and also trade data with no limit, with no lock-in period when looking at it on the real sense. So all these actually important points that we need to all these actually important point that we need to take note of when looking at the ecosystem, when looking at what they're actually building, what are they really all about, and that is very, very important that we take note of all these points when looking at the ecosystem and other. So all these points here are actually very, very important that we need to take note of when looking at the ecosystem and other. And also the governance actually plays a role with the protocol involvement proposal, and also has no relation with investment strategy and other, which is also another important point that we need to actually take note of. And also it enables users to track real-time portfolio and trade data with no lock, with no kind of way, because we take the KNJ token on the platform, and this offer principal cover to all invested users when looking at it. So all these are actually very, very important when looking at it on the real sense of how we can actually go about all the different form of investment strategy that we actually have that you can actually key into another. So all these are different ways in which you can actually go into the platform, their futures and what they're actually really all about, how you can actually invest into it, how we can actually key into it. All these are different ways in which you can actually key into the platform when looking at it on the real sense. So what are the other points that we have here that we need to take note of when looking at it? You can see it here. Now you can say, how does this Kunji Finance work? Now the Kunji Finance introduced a new platform in a decentralized finance that allows users to generate return with their digital asset investment with complete custodian and transparency. So it allows me and you to generate return with their digital asset investment with complete custodian and transparency. It utilize woman trading skills for risk management and keep the custodian of the woman with smart contract as strategies when looking at it. So all these actually important ways in which we can actually look into going into the ecosystem, looking into going to what they actually really all about. How can we actually go about them? And it's very, very important that we understand all the steps when looking at the ecosystem, looking at what they're actually building, how can we actually go about them. And so let's look at more what they're actually really all about. What are the different points that I'm actually sharing with you guys in the course of today's session? So please, if you have any question whatsoever, you are free to ask on the chat box in which justice is going to be done as we keep moving ahead in the course of today's session. So please, if you have any question whatsoever, you are free to ask on the chat box in which justice is actually going to be done as we keep moving ahead in the course of today's session. If you have any question, I'm waiting for your question. If you have any question on the chat box, you are free to ask on the chat box, in which justice is going to be done as we keep moving ahead in the course of today's section. So one point that we actually have, you can see it here. You can see this. You can see this is actually the native token, the KNJ. The KNJ is actually the native token of the Kunji Finance platform. Its supply is fixed around. You can see the supply here and other. Let me check something. Okay, so you can see the KNJ token. You can see the KNJ token here. You can see the total supply here. You can see the native token is actually the native token of the Fungi Finance platform, and also actually as a supply is fixed. You can see the supply here 100 and 6 zeros and thereabout. Another is actually designed as a utility token that performs various essential network function when looking at it. You can see the native token, you can see what the native token do. You can see the KNJ token holders may choose to stake their KNJ tokens in exchange for XTKNG. The protocol stake that is KT is actually stake token for additional voting power. The KT token, like native token holders, will be able to vote on governance proposal and participate in decision making process of the ecosystem and other. Now, the KNG holders are entitled to vote on platform futures proposal and not on the company operation or management or investors assets. Staking is not will not be required for voting. As a result, token holders will be able to vote with their native token when looking at it on the real sense. And also these are actually important points that we need to take note of when looking at the ecosystem, when looking at what they're actually really all about. What are we talking about? How can we actually, you can see now this is actually the tokenomics of this project. You can see it here. You can see the tokenomics. You can see the native token which you currently have on Gate.io. You can see the native token. You can see the total supply is actually fixed. You can see the token emission. You can see the emission. The emission is actually you can see it here of KNG token is directly tied with the the total supply locked growth within the platform, the Fungi platform. When looking at it, you can see it's actually a native token of the finance platform, actually has a fixed supply. When looking at it, it's already designed as a utility token that perform various essential network function. This documentation provide an overview of how the market actually works, and also the use cases functionality within the Fungi Finance token and other. So you guys listening to me, I can see James, I can see Quarter and other. You guys actually listening to me currently. You can actually go, if you have up to $10 in your 10 USDT on your this, you can actually go and partake in this project that we currently have which is very, very important. So all these points are actually very, very important that we need to take note of, that we need to look at when looking at this project, what they actually will about. So you can actually go with just partake in this airdrop that we currently have that's actually out there in the market space and all that. So all these are actually important points that we need to take note, actually important conversation that we need to actually take note of when talking about the market space, what they're actually really all about, how can we actually go about them and all. So that is all what we'll be talking about in today's section. Thanks for everyone that actually connected live with us in the course of today's section. We'll be live again tomorrow for another interesting conversation to learn more about the market space. So if you're yet to actually follow me, please kindly follow me. If you're yet to actually be part of the startup project, please, right now is the right time for you to actually be part of the startup project. And all you just need to be part of the startup project is just to open your Gate.io app. If you get to do so, immediately you are done opening your Gate.io, immediately you are done opening your account, and know that do your verification. Immediately you are done with your verification, just do it, just deposit up to $10 and you'll be able to claim this project that we actually have. So that's all what we'll be talking about in today's session. Thank you so much for everyone joining us live in today's section. We'll be live again tomorrow for another interesting conversation. Bye guys, and enjoy the rest of the day. See you tomorrow for another